We're sitting here in beautiful Boulder, Colorado, feeling the vibrational shift of the universe. And it's my intention that we're moving towards a more peaceful world with the ultimate goal of world peace. How do you feel about this?
Indeed. I guess you could say we've strived for world peace for a long time, even if you want to start in the 60s and like how people were breaking through stereotypes and just cages and just figuring out what world peace could actually look like. But it seems like it's coming, even though it's, there's a lot of war and darkness still going on. But it reminds me of what a lot of people say, like it's always darkest before the dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're meant to see all this, like, because individually and collectively, it's like the ego is being exposed for what it is, like a thing that creates separation or believes it's built off of separation.
I love that, yeah.
And it also makes me think of a lot of cycles are ending right now, like Kali Yuga cycle is coming to an end. There's no specific date on that, right? But it's just like kind of a time frame. And what's after Kali Yuga, like the age of peace, the golden age of peace. So it's like we can lean into that energy now and take it with us in our day-to-day interactions of just going to work, going to the grocery store, whatever, and just maintain that peace within. Because once you discover for yourself that it is within you, you could breathe into that space at any moment and bring yourself back into that vibration. If everything is energy, frequency, and vibration.
I love that. I believe I'm a believer. And we talk about, finding your passion, finding your place in the world. And each individual has that divine spark of God in them. And we talk about passions. And I know a lot of people are even afraid to go after their passion and chase it, to know what makes them feel divinely them. Do you have any advice for these, especially these younger kids, these younger generations that might grow up in the, the counterculture movements of God knows what they're looking at today, but just trying to get them confident and stepping into fully in themselves?
Well, realizing who they actually are beyond their persona identity or the name they were given or social security number or status or what the culture around them has told them who they are, like the person, the being, the essence of who we all are before we enter into these bodies or as we're entering into these bodies, however you want to look at that. What is that space? A lot of the mystics and masters of the past have said like that peace, that love, that joy is within you. Like that's who you originally, the essence of who you are before you were born and even right now. Because you're not this mind and this body alone, So, just discovering that for yourself. Ask the universe, ask God, ask Source. Lean into the question of, well, what is this whole thing really all about? And then you'll find your way. It could come instantly in a flash. It could come over the progression of 10 years. Your intention in all those moments, aids in that. So,
you want to talk about your place in finding your spirituality, maybe your personal journey towards, feeling confident in your community and your enlightenment and your surrounding environment?
Yeah. Any specific questions or just kind of upbringing my personal experience of this body?
I love it how you can have a punk rock bumper sticker on one side of your car and then, to the spiritual community's bumper sticker on the other side of your car. I think that's, that's going to be powerful to a lot of people. And I think you've got a lot to share with these guys.
Well, we all are who we are, and like whatever you want to call that, a mixture of culture or music we like or movies we like or video games we like or people we like or, that we're all still able to find that unifying factor that is within all of us. God, love, Source, peace, love, joy, the Great Spirit, the universe. All these things point to that truth beyond words. And so I guess for me, sum up my story a little bit, my experience in this body is grew up in a Christian home, and my parents were pretty good examples of the love of Jesus, Yeshua, that Christ love, like love your neighbor as yourself. And so that imbued upon me big time and stuck with me a lot. And but the whole hell thing, every time I got brought up, and it would just never really make sense with me. I was like, that just doesn't ring with love somehow. And by the time I was 19 or so, I was like, I'm gonna get down to the bottom of this and figure it out. And like, so just went off about that time exploring on my own, like all the world religions, different cultures, just as much as came to me, plowing through the Bible and like checking out the Quran and Buddha writings, Hinduism, like the whole gamut, what you could say, of sorts. Obviously, it'd probably take a couple lifetimes to try to go through all the history of this planet, but really seeing that love is the summation of that. Like, treat others how you want to be treated, because everyone else is you. Who's you? Are you just this body alone? Well, let's look at that. Like, that question causes you to go within and look. Um, and so, yeah. And then there was times life got busy, got married, had kids, and like fell asleep. Spirituality got put on the back burner, just living the life, raising kids, blah blah blah, full speed ahead. You know, next thing you know, you've grown apart from your partner, and divorce happens, and like going through all that, and like, you know, and living situations. I was counting the other day, I've lived in 36 different places for longer than 6 months, like in a, what, 40 something year span. But everything has been a learning lesson along the way. So I mean, I've had some grand experiences, conversations with people who felt like they were from, you know, heaven or different realms or whatever word you want to put on it. And then got to hang out with grandmother ayahuasca and grandfather peyote and some of the little cousins and whatnot, and how those reveal how connected we all actually are. And like, even just to the simplest thing without that, just the breath, like we all share that. Like what we breathe in from the trees, we breathe it out. They take that and make it into new air again. It's a whole beautiful dance. And like, if we can just choose to tune into that, once we know how to tune into that, because our society's school systems and stuff is not, they're forgetting to tell us that for a reason. Because separated people are easier to control.
And you're talking about love, you know, and for you, how does that show up in your daily life? Like, you know, I know your parents were big on, you say, talking about hell, and
The love part, but
right.
but every time I would hear hell brought up in church, like my parents didn't really talk about it much.
Oh, okay,
You know?
okay, yeah. How would you convey this Christ consciousness without that definition of hell? How would you, you know, because I know a lot of people that they're just Christians for hell insurance.
Yeah, I call it Jesus fire insurance. But yeah, that's true. I mean, and so people can hear that term Christ consciousness and maybe get turned off because it's like, oh, it's Christian. It's obviously going to be condemning me to hell. But if you take time to look at that, what that breaks down to, you know, some people call it cosmic consciousness, God consciousness, Buddha mind. What's all those words pointing to? What is the essence before those words? What is all those pointing to? And really, it's a love that is so free that nothing can dissuade it from knowing that otherwise, from just emanating like the sun, like I am love, I am peace, I am joy. Like all these things, if you sit, like for me in my experience, like take time in meditation and sit with those concepts, the realness of it feels electrically charged, like you feel it and you know it. So much so that you could start diving into the ideas of living meditation, where you can breathe that back in at any moment. Something throws you off on the road, you're at work, like someone could cut in front of you, like look at you cross or whatever, like you see the mind wanting to be like, ah, and then you could, just that simple if we want it to be, you know.
I'm digging it. I think you're coming from a unique perspective on spirituality, where you're actually coming full circle around. Not only are you giving the love you want to receive, but you're also storing it in the great collective consciousness energy bank, and you're able to draw on upon that love when things are getting hard. How would you convey that? How would you teach that if you, as a father, you know, looking at your child, wanting them to experience the beauty of this world?
It's just being in tune with it in the moment itself. And then as you try to see that in the other human being, no matter who they are, be able to tune in a little bit more, and you can conversate together in ways that are in the vibration of spirit or something to that effect.
You're doing good, dude.
So how to teach it, like, to me, I couldn't write it down or try to put it in a format because that's been done for thousands of years, right?
Sure, yeah.
So it really is just embodying it. How do you know it? You be it. We have the possibility of being in oneness with that which makes all of this. And it comes down to the easy, simplest things like just love, peace, joy, seeing the oneness and harmony and interconnectedness of all life from the inside to the cosmos.
Either of you need to be back in? I can lock the door.
Yeah. But and allowing every moment, allowing every interruption, like
Yeah.
like I like the concept also of like seeing this thing as a simulation, like when you think of all the atoms and everything, and like it's kind of that way in a way. And especially if like these mystics say we're not this mind and this body alone, like some say like planet Earth is like the hardest video game, come and play, you know, for eternal beings,
Yeah.
just doing, creating, figuring it out, like playing, like let's make a game where we forget who we are and see what happens. Anybody in?
The universe experiencing itself through new awakening every time. And the only way to truly master the game is to sit still enough to feel the love, the divine glory of God.
That's it. Right here, right within.
You want to talk to the people about how we're finding our community and spirituality here in Boulder, Colorado?
Yeah. Right now we're sitting in the, what would you call this area? The
Zen
horticulture,
garden.
the Zen garden over at Unity in Boulder, Unity Church, Unity Gathering Center. And I just moved to the area in January and was looking up spiritual gathering places, and Unity of Boulder was one of the first things that popped up. And you know, just from day one of visiting, like it felt like family right away, like just the leadership here and the way they flow with the Great Spirit, like, and all the people I've met here and just on their own unique spiritual awakening path, coming from different backgrounds, different readers they like right now, different practices, and yeah, we're all here for the same thing of like living into our oneness with Source and hoping for that to spread out into the world, you know, and that we'd waken from our illusion of separation and create a world that works for everyone, basically, and just trying to ride that wave in the meantime with each other, you know. What would you say about it?
Man, this is it's a place to gather for community, you know, and the property here we sit on is classified as religious, you know, 501(c)(3) in the United States. That's holy ground, right? And we've got this constitutional right to come and gather in a community and manifest and pray as that community towards the goal of our choosing. And I think right now we're choosing a global peaceful frequency, right? We're sitting within, we're loving ourselves, and in return we're loving ourselves enough where we can love without. Maybe not loving without, but loving on the outside of us. And I think what you had to say earlier about that uniqueness that we all carry is something powerful. And when we're raising this next generation, because you know it's going to take a few generations, in my opinion, to get us out of this, you know, deficit we set ourselves in. And of course, with
That's up to you.
of course, with the Cold War, we all assumed, or you know, the Gen X and the Boomers, they all assumed any day would be their last. Of course, they did what they did to the planet, but we can come out of it. We can say, okay, we're not going to nuke the world. We're going to come together. We're going to unify.
Yeah.
We're going to broadcast a global frequency of love and peace. And it might take us a little bit of time to all come together and, you know, stop arguing over, you know, what color that should look like, or what side of the road we need to drive on, right? Or what metric system we use. But we're going to get there.
Yeah.
I have full faith we're going to get there. And your uniqueness I'm glad I asked you to come on, because I think you've got a perspective that a lot of people in mainstream society don't know how to quite put in a box. And your uniqueness, you've been able to not set it aside per se, but to incorporate it within that love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and not put anything in a box, really, because our minds are taught that. It's good at doing that, and we're taught that in memory storage banks rather than knowing how to. I heard it said the other day something like that. It's like the memory storage banks. You could subtitle, "Oh, that's a bird. There's nothing amazing about it anymore. That's a tree. Oh, it's just a tree. Nothing amazing about it anymore. It's just filed. We know what it is. Let's keep carrying on with this task we have to do that someone made up for us, which is making money and paying bills." Which is what it is in this part of the game right now. But where are we going with that?
I think you've said it all. I think we've come full back around where, the message that we're giving out is the same message we're able to tap into. I thank you so much. And I always try to give a peace sign to the camera and let them know it's possible that we can achieve world peace.
We are peace. I am peace. You are peace.
Thank you, brother.